How to use a semicolon. The most feared punctuation on earth. All of the graphics on here and most of the information comes from the oatmeal. Using a semicolon isn't hard. I once saw a party gorilla do it. Why? What's the point of a semicolon? The most common way to use a semicolon is to connect two independent clauses. If you remember, independent clauses are two clauses that can stand on their own as a complete sentence. For example, the ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big, hairy knuckles. Two statements are separated by a period. If read aloud, it would go something like this. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. Take a breath. He had big, hairy knuckles. With a semicolon, however, it would sound like this. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big, hairy knuckles. Basically, what we did was eliminate or get rid of the pause between the two statements without using words such as and, but, nor, or yet, also known as fanboys. How? How do I use a semicolon? If you have two independent clauses, meaning they could stand alone as their own sentences, it's okay to use a semicolon. For example, my aunt also had hairy knuckles. She loved to wash and comb them. This part, my aunt also had hairy knuckles, is an independent clause, meaning it could stand alone as a complete sentence. She loved to wash and comb them. This is also an independent clause. It could exist without being attached to its predecessor. The predecessor is what came before it. Don't. Don't use it with conjunctions. Conjunctions are words like and, but, or, nor, for, so, and yet. My aunt's hairy knuckles are magnificent indeed, but I have no desire to stroke them. A comma is used because there's a but separating the two clauses. Right here. This is a conjunction. It's a fanboy that stands for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys do not go with semicolons. When? When should I use a semicolon? I gnaw on old car tires. It strengthens my jaw, so I'll be better conditioned for bear combat. Gnaw, right here, this word means to chew on. Use a semicolon when you want to form a bond between two statements, typically when they are related to or contrast with one another. In the example above, the relationship between gnawing on tires and combating bears is strengthened by using a semicolon. I fought the bear and won. Also, I never kiss plague rats on the mouth. In this sentence, your victory against the bear does not need to be connected to the plague rat, so a period is used. Pause. Both bears and semicolons have pause. Comma. It's a brief pause. Just a moment. Semicolon, a moderate pause. longer than a comma, but not as long as a period. And finally, a period. That means you come to a complete stop. Internal. Internal means inside. Use a semicolon to connect sentences that contain internal punctuation. These dinosaurs are talking to each other, and one says, "I've got all these commas. How can we ever be together without forming a run-on sentence?" "Nothing can stop true love. Use a semicolon, you fool." When dinosaurs agree on something, they'll often high five one another. Dinosaurs are all about high fives. If you'd used a comma in this sentence, it would have resulted in a comma splice. If you'd used a period, you'd lose the connection between the two clauses. A comma splice is when you connect two independent clauses without a conjunction. That means without using the words for and nor, but, or, yet, so. So if you want to avoid using a comma splice because it's not okay to do it, you use a semicolon. Super. Use a semicolon as a super comma. While searching for a good place to get a unicorn burger, I traveled to Seattle, Washington, Tokyo, Japan, and London, England. Use a semicolon if you need to make a list of items that are separated with a comma. This often occurs when listing locations, names, dates, and descriptions. So I use this one a lot. If I have things that need to go together that already have commas within them, I use a semicolon to separate them. Example: my favorite people include Samuel Slaughterjaws, a famous unicorn hunter, my Uncle Wilford, a champion at mayonnaise eating contests, and Nikola Tesla, the most awesome dude to ever fire a lightning bolt at an angry peasant. The semicolon enables you to list and describe all three characters in the same sentence. The end. Godzilla is a misunderstood creature. Beneath his raging desire to set people on fire and eat them lies a gentle giant who just wants to cuddle.